everybody, it's Russell from What Drives Us. Welcome to our historic Highway 395 travelogue in the 2022 Toyota Sienna hybrid minivan. Yeah, hybrid minivan. The whole trip itself, if we left from where we live in North San Diego County to Lake Tahoe, it's about 9 hours, a little less than that. That's, of course, if you don't stop, yada, yada, yada. Part of the beauty of this trip is that once you get past the ugly part, which is the first couple of hours where the historic highway really has been gone. It's erased. There are some bits of it in various cities and whatnot, but for the most part, it's gone. The best part starts in HESPERIA, California. Quick digression. Yes, we brought Bizu, our excited poodle and fox terrier mixed dog, along with us. And you know what? There was enough room for 2 adult humans and a small dog in the Sienna minivan. Yeah, that's no surprise. It's huge. The thing's enormous. And we're going to get more into that too. As well, there's a condensed version that leaves out a lot of the travelogue stuff and just talks about the hybrid minivan. Look for that in our compact 2022 Toyota Sienna hybrid minivan review. This one's long, it's wordy, it's talking about the people and the places as much as the van. In fact, probably more so. So, anyway, historic Highway 395 really starts these days in Hesperia, California, which is sort of, far east of Los Angeles, east and north, out in the desert, out in the high desert. Yeah. Then you're on Highway 395. What is so cool about Highway 395? Well, what's so cool about it is it's a state road. So you have the advantage of, for the most part, very few stops, being able to go up to 60 miles an hour during the trip. But it's also a state road. There's cross streets. You can just stop and pull over. You see something pretty, you can just stop and pull over. There's no freeway exits. There's no waiting for this or that. I have to tell you, in a lot of ways, one of my favorite things about this trip was getting to explore this road, getting off the freeway, and being able to just stop whenever we wanted. And we made time in this trip for that. My lovely wife, Kimberly Frost, there, who was my navigator and co-pilot, along with Bizu, of course, who gets navigator credit. The first day we traveled up to Mammoth Lakes. It's about 6 hours. And you, again, once you get up past Hesperia, about an hour or so, you start to go along that eastern edge of the Sierras, and they are amazing. I have to admit, as a native Californian, I'm somewhat chagrined to say I didn't really appreciate how beautiful it was, how big these mountains are. Mount Whitney is over 14,000 feet. Most of the time you're up at 4, 5, 6, 7,000 feet going alongside of these mountains. So you're up there. You're up there. One of the stops to let Bizu out, we noticed, dun dun dun, the man. Yeah, no big deal. He didn't stop us or anything. Anyway, Mammoth Lakes, our first night stop. Stopped at the wonderful Cinnamon Bear Inn. Do visit them at Cinnamon Bear Inn. They didn't give us any money. We paid full price for the room. And I got to tell you, honestly, I was skeptical at first, but I really loved the people that ran it. The hotel itself, it's okay. But the people who run the hotel for the owners are wonderful people. And people make these things. Amazingly enough, right? This is a trip in April in the mountains. As literally once we arrived, this happened. It started to snow. Big, beautiful snow. Bizu, who was born in Pennsylvania, hadn't seen snow in a few years and was like, oh yeah, I remember this stuff. It's really cold. Oh well, she's small. Needless to say, the Toyota Sienna hybrid minivan withstood the onslaught of winter, and it snowed most of the night. We woke up the next morning, and you'll see some of those pictures here in just a few seconds. Hey, wildlife. Yeah, it was just gorgeous. You know, having lived in places with snow, it was nice to visit it. Mammoth Lakes is wonderful. We can't wait to go back. We're already planning our next trip just to go up to Mammoth and stay a few days. There's the parking lot of the Cinnamon Bear. You see the Sienna on the far left. Dawn the next morning, and it was not snowing anymore, luckily for us, because we didn't have an off-road vehicle. And yeah, that was a concern of mine. So this was our Mammoth Lakes to Tahoe. It was a shorter bit of the trip. I want to say 3 hours nonstop. Again, the mountains around Mammoth are just, they're so beautiful. Everywhere you go, it is just freaking gorgeous. So we obviously stopped for a little while to take in the sights, to shoot some video, and in every instance, the Sienna made the trip more pleasant. Super comfortable, super big, easy to drive. Gas mileage? Yeah, you know what, in a minivan, we're driving 1,000 miles round trip. That was a concern. We averaged between 34 and 36 mpg. That's not bad for a huge 3 rows of seats vehicle with still storage in the back. It was nice to have that kind of room to stretch, to have our stuff spread out, to have lots of room for Bizoo. We hadn't really had that before, so we really enjoyed it. This is some shots of us just outside of Mono Lake. We are at the PANUM crater. This is an old volcano. Now, when I say old volcano, this volcano is only about 600 years old, and it's just outside of Mono Lake. Bizoo, of course, went for a run, and yeah, one of her favorite toys, except she was so excited she forgot to retrieve the toy. Oh well. There's Gumby. Anyway, PANUM crater, it's a very cool stop. You go down a little dirt road. Yes, we took the Sienna on several dirt roads. It handled just fine. We were really, now, most of these roads were very well graded. They weren't off-road material. There's one coming up on the way back that I'll explain, where we stopped because the road got a little hairy. But the crater's very cool. It's beautiful. And Mono Lake is really weird. Here's an aerial image of PANUM crater. Yeah, and you get an idea of how weirdly cool it is. The obsidian lava that's floating around there, it's just wonderful. And this is right by one of the coolest weird places on Earth, Mono Lake. Now, what's Mono Lake famous for? Well, it's famous for being Mono Lake. And in my world, if you're my age and you had Pink Floyd's Wish You Were Here album, you might have noticed a picture of a diver diving in a lake with no splash and really weird rocks and stuff around. That's Mono Lake. And that's not why I wanted to go there. But, you know, I mean, that album's been part of my world forever. So, yeah. This is an interesting little guide of what's going on with the lava underneath Mono Lake that helps heat these springs. That's tufa. Tufa is a structure built by springs coming up through the lake. The calcium from the springs eventually hardens around the spring jet, and it leaves these vertical stone columns, which make Mono Lake what it is. It's weirdly, amazingly cool. It is a very high salinity lake. It used to be larger, and it has shrunk down, as many bodies of water in California have. And so it's not, you don't want to like get a cup of water and drink out of it. But it is a must stop. It is a beautiful lake. The rock formations are really cool. For me, it was something, the realization of seeing something in person that I've seen for years in photographs and wanted to go see. I'd love to go back again and just take photos and spend some time there. Because we spent like an hour there, but it'd be nice to see it at sunrise, for instance. One of the things, as we were leaving, coming across the lake is a snowstorm. a second wave of snow coming across the lake. The weird, not the weirdest thing I've ever seen, but really weird. So there you go, a snowstorm across Mono Lake, coming across the lake right at us. Lake Tahoe. The drive is beautiful, and one of the smart things we did, we took the same route back that we took going up. And you think, wow, why double back? Why not see something new? Fair enough, and that's a fair point. But what that allowed us to do was do recon on the way up, spot things that we wanted to stay at and spend more time with, and then we could do that. We knew exactly where they were. We plotted it out. From our own experience. Obviously today with the internet and photos, you can do that. By the way, the images that you're looking at are us driving the circumference of the lake in the Toyota Sienna minivan. And again, if you go to Tahoe, do this. Do it. Spend a couple of hours, drive around the lake. It's a beautiful trip. The lake is gorgeous. Stop at Emerald Bay, which is what we're doing here. Emerald Bay is maybe one of the most beautiful places on earth. It's just amazing. Little island in the middle of the bay, a little miniature castle built by some crazy person who used to live there 100 years ago. It's wonderful, and it's one of those things that it's just one of those Lake Tahoe things you should do. So that's not very far outside of South Lake Tahoe. And then it's about a 70-mile drive around the lake. So again, a couple of hours, lots of great places to stop. We stopped at one little coffee shop on the way up there that had its own little beach. In fact, one of the few, the downside of Lake Tahoe, one of the few publicly accessible beaches that's there. There's a lot of beaches. They're not necessarily publicly accessible. You've got to pay to go to them, or you've got to have a room at a hotel. In one case, one near our hotel in South Lake, they wanted $25 per person to get on the beach. This was in April with snow on the ground. Obviously, we didn't pay it, but yeah, just know that. So anyway, this little coffee shop had a beautiful little beach. We got to hang out there and kind of see it. Yep, here we are in the car with the dog, me and Kimberly and Bizu exploring Lake Tahoe. Notice Kimberly in the parka. I'm wearing a wool shirt, so it's not like, yeah, I was doing anything. Here's another one of the bays, and I don't remember. This one is by a tunnel. It's about 30 minutes from South Lake. If you were looking at Lake Tahoe as a clock, it's about 5 o'clock. Again, it's just beautiful, crystal clear water. It's an amazing place. Keep Tahoe blue. That's Lake Tahoe. We did a lot of stuff while we were there. There's a lot of touristy, fun things to do and all that. We were only there overnight, and it was our anniversary, so we kind of celebrated that. And the next day, we were headed back down south, leaving Lake Tahoe. Yeah, you go through, Carson Valley, Nevada. You switchbacks, which are actually only about 30 minutes of switchbacks from the lake down to Carson Valley, Nevada. Again, a gorgeous drive. And this is us going down those switchbacks, and then you're back on Highway 395, which is super easy to drive. If you're afraid of mountain switchbacks and all that, again, this Highway 395 trip is it's wonderful because there's not a lot of that. Where you get the switchbacks is when you head off the main road and head up into the mountains. That's when the driving gets a little more challenging, but it's by no means difficult. So yeah, it's great. Leave California and get into Nevada, and leave Nevada and get into California. When you're in Tahoe, you do this constantly. The Sienna is very nice about updating you where you are. It tells you, welcome to California, welcome to Nevada. And because our hotel was about 150 feet from the state line, every time we went somewhere, it was welcome to Nevada, welcome to California. It's cool. It's a cool feature, and we appreciate it. But yeah, I got to poke a little fun at it. Here's us coming down the switchbacks out of Lake Tahoe and coming back into California. And then we had a little pit stop for Bizu. who likes pit stops. She's a big fan of marking her territory, and believe me, in this trip, she expanded her territory significantly. So good for Bisou. That was one of the goals: expand Bisou's territory. Again, you can't. Let's just call it a 9-hour drive. In 9 hours of driving, for us, the last 3 driving from Lake Tahoe to San Diego, the last 3 were boring because it's all major highways. It's Inland Empire, Riverside kind of stuff. It's not scenic in any way. Every other hour is gorgeous. If you do this trip, make time to stop, breathe in the air, relax a little bit, take some pictures, kind of soak it in, because it is amazing. And it's right here. Well, for me, it's right here. Needless to say, again, we're already planning the next trip. Here we are at the Mono Lake Overlook. Again, one of the things we saw going up, we didn't stop because we didn't really know it was there. We knew it was there coming back, so we stopped. So here's us in the minivan. We're not going to dramatically drive over the edge. We're going to stop, park the van, and just, again, spend some time kind of getting a different view of Mono Lake. And amazing place. The what can we say about the Sienna? You know, technology-wise, it has all of the safety features you want. All of the ADAS features, they're very well implemented. The driving experience is pleasant and seamless. And again, I'm driving between 4 and 6 hours a day, and it honestly, I was a little intimidated at first with the bigger vehicle, but I might have been driving a Camry. It really, you don't notice it at all. It does have a 360 camera system, obviously backup cameras and sensors. It's a thoroughly modern minivan. This is not your grandma's Grand Voyager from 1991. Back on the road, headed down towards Mono Lake, and our overnight stop in Olancha, California, about 4 hours, 5 hours from where we live in North San Diego County. Just endless beauty, mountains, forests, lakes. It's, in some ways, it's so California, and yet it's so alien because of all the lakes and all of the forests. It's not something that someone from Southern California sees a lot. I mean, we have mountains, but not quite like that. So it's amazing. I'm kind of a geology kook. Getting a chance to kind of see some of the geology stuff was just incredible for me. A big, huge thing. One of the stops that Kimberly wanted to do was the June Lake Loop. I didn't know anything about it. It is, again, absolutely, you must take this loop off the road. You go through 3 lakes, Silver Lake, Gull Lake, and June Lake. And Silver Lake is like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like something made out of postcards. It's so beautiful. And June Lake is gorgeous too. These are all up in the Sierras. This is just a little bit north of Mammoth. But look at the video, look at the pictures. And again, the nice thing was we stopped several times in this loop. It's not that big a loop. I want to say it's about 45 minutes to drive the loop itself. We spent a couple of hours because we had the time and we were really enjoying just sort of sitting there and taking it all in. And there's a lot of beautiful places to sit there and take it all in. It's amazing. The last lake in the June Lake Loop is June Lake. I think it's the largest, and this was another chance for Bisou to get out and run around, for us to get some scenic video with the Sienna, and there's Kimberly and Bisou, and just kind of take it all in. The next stop, definitely the stop that I wanted to do. There is a place called Obsidian Dome. This is a volcano that was under a lake. Again, boy, I want to say about 900 years ago. Not like millions, just fairly recent. And when lava cools, if it cools slowly, it forms granite. this is an oversimplification, geologists, please don't kill me, of which California is filled with granite, absolutely everywhere. Obsidian is volcanic glass. It is black, it is shiny, it shards like glass. And interestingly enough, prehistoric peoples used this for knife points, for arrow points. Obsidian glass will actually naturally chip to an edge 1 molecule thick. It is the sharpest edge that you can get out of a natural material. It's amazing. Don't handle it a lot. That's my warning. Anyway, Obsidian Dome is an entire volcano that was underneath the lake. It came up through the lake. The lake cooled the lava very quickly, which created the volcanic glass rather than the slower cooling of the granite. So there's tons of these obsidian boulders made of glass everywhere. It is outstanding. Now, it is at the end of a 3-mile dirt road. We didn't go all the way down it because at one point the road got a little weird. We're out in the middle of nowhere with questionable cell coverage, and although the cell coverage for the most part was actually pretty good on this trip, we just, we're not gonna risk the off-roading the minivan. But for the most of the year, I'm going to guess that most any car would have no trouble getting down this road to see the Obsidian Dome. It's amazing. If you have any kind of geology interest at all, if you just want to hang out in the trees, it's a fun place to go. Highly recommend it. The boulders are they're just weird. I mean, again, glass from a volcano. Do I need to say something else? Yeah, I'm kind of a rock geek. I'm sorry. So that's it. And you know what? Cheers to the Sienna for doing as well as it did in the off-road portions of this trip. We were offered a Tacoma TRD Pro, which would have been fantastic, but the gas mileage is so we went for the MPG, and you know what? Not bummed about the decision at all. It was absolutely a wonderful vehicle to drive. So, final stop, OLANCHA, California. This was our last night. OLANCHA itself is almost on that southern edge of the 395, where it stops being cool and starts getting back into civilization. We wanted to stay somewhere that night where we could see the stars, where it would still have the mountains behind us and all of that, and that's what we did. It was a nice little place. I'm not going to recommend it, so we're just going to leave that out of there. But if you find it, good luck. We enjoyed it. We did, however, and no fault of the property that we were staying. We woke up at 3 a.m. Oddly enough, I don't know what woke us up, and we were just like, we're awake. My wife's like, I'm awake. The dog was like, I'm awake. We were like, you know what? Let's just go. Let's just go home. We can be home by early morning, and we won't have to fight as much traffic. And that's what we did. So at 3 a.m, we loaded up the van, and we started driving home. What this also did, again, sort of just not really planning, that last boring leg of the drive, some of it was in the dark, and we didn't miss anything. We'd seen it on the way up, and it wasn't that exciting anyway. So, it was actually it kind of worked out well. Yeah, absolutely worked out well. We were very happy about it. And we got home at a very early time, and got to spend the rest of the day kind of just relaxing and decompressing. That was certainly super, super nice. Getting home, you got to go through the CAJON Pass. This is a mountain pass on the 15. If you've ever driven from Southern California to Las Vegas, you've been through the CAJON Pass. If you have an older car, you probably killed the engine running the AC up the CAJON Pass. It happens. Our vehicle, however, both ways went up like a champ, no problem. But LA traffic, yeah, this is easily an hour and a half outside of Los Angeles and LA traffic. This is the kind of traffic that we had most of the way home. kind of stop and go. It'd go for a little while. But here we are at the top of the Cajon Pass, heading down into Riverside County, and then we'll head down into San Diego County. So that's about that. It was a fantastic trip. And if I sound enthusiastic, it's because I am. If you have a chance to drive the historic Highway 395 in California, do it. It's a wonderful trip. And like I said, it's the advantages of modern high-speed travel on a beautifully graded road, yet you can pull up anywhere you want. Lots of funky old motels, lots of little places to stop and get food, Schatz Bakeries, Mahogany Meats. There's a ton of them that are just wonderful stops. Mahogany Meats, fantastic. My friend Rory recommended it. Same with Schatz Bakery I think it's in Bishop or Lone Pine. There's also one in Mammoth Lakes. Incredible baked goods. There's going to be a tourist crowd there. You may or may not be excited about that tourist crowd, but they're there. So all in all, a wonderful trip. I want to thank Toyota very much for their generous loan, a week-long loan of the Sienna hybrid minivan. As I said, there's a standalone, shorter review if you want to just hear about the car. You can. Do check our channel for that. I want to thank Manny and FPI for the parking. I want to thank Michael Manring for his amazing theme music. And most of all, I want to thank all of you for watching. You're the reason we do this stuff. I do this stuff. So I hope you enjoy it. If you have questions, do not hesitate to leave them in the comments. I will do my best to engage with you and to get you the answers, or at least give you my opinion, and we'll go from there. Thanks again for watching, and drive safe.